Fringe Fanatics with Chad Lee and Chris Zane.
And we are back in spirit, ladies and gentlemen. It is Fringe Fanatics. I am Chris Zane, and standing in place of my partner in crime and podcasting, Chad Lee, is not here tonight. Unfortunately, he had some stuff go down involving him and his girlfriend's family, and I'll let him fill you guys in on that. As they say, I don't want to spill anybody else's tea, so I'll let him fill you in as to what he wants to divulge about all of that. But we are here. It is Tuesday, February 13th, and we are in the middle of episode 72. I guess we're not really in the middle of it. We're in the beginning of it. But here we are, episode 72. It is the Dan DIERDORF episode. And let me give you a little rundown about old Danny DIERDORF here. He wore number 72 for his entire career. He was an American sportscaster as well after he retired. He did play 13 seasons from 1971 to 1983 as an offensive tackle for the St. Louis Cardinals of the National Football League. DIERDORF also played college football for the Michigan Wolverines from 1968 to 1970 and was selected as a consensus All-American in 1970 and a first-team All-Big Ten Conference player in both 69 and 70. He was inducted into the University of Michigan Athletic Hall of Honor in 1996 and the College Football Hall of Fame in the year 2000. Playing for St. Louis, he was selected by the NFL Players Association as the Offensive Lineman of the Year for 3 consecutive years from 76 to 78. Between 74 and 1980, he played in the Pro Bowl 6 times and was chosen as a first-team All-Pro 5 times. He was named to the NFL's 1970s All-Decade Team and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1996. So yeah, a lot of us grew up hearing Dan DIERDORF as a as a sportscaster, as he was always on the talking about the football. He was with ABC and was with Al Michaels and Frank Gifford on Monday Night Football broadcasts. He spent 12 seasons on Monday Night Football before resigning the post in early 1999. From 99 to 2013, he was paired with Vern Lundquist as the network's number 2 NFL broadcasting team. After week 2 of the 2000 season, Lundquist was moved to CBS's lead college football team, and DIERDORF served as a commentator for Dick Enberg from 2000 to 2005, all the way up until 2013. So yeah, this guy has been on our TVs for a very long time, and we honor him today, as this is episode 72 of Fringe Fanatics. And on that note, I will be cheersing you alone, and it is a lot different sitting here by myself and cheersing with nobody else. So if you are watching or tuned in on the stream or watching after the fact and you're at a time and place where you can divulge in some libations, by all means, do a shot with me right now. We are drinking some Gentleman's Jack. As always, I am drinking my Voodoo Ranger hard charge tea. Look at my excellent skills here. Yeah, we got peach now, so it's delicious. I love peach flavored things. But to you guys, if you've been watching or listening and following along with us on this journey, we appreciate each and every one of you, and this shot and cheers is for you as well as Dan DIERDORF. So cheers to you guys. Ooh. Oh, sorry. So this episode is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to do my best to keep it on track by myself. It is very strange not having Chad here to bounce things off of. So you're going to hear a lot of me, unfortunately, and hopefully you guys can handle a heavy dose of Chris. It is probably going to be a shorter episode. I am going to try and call Chad here at about 6:30 to kind of break down the Super Bowl and let him do a victory lap, as well as fill you guys in on a couple things that are going to be happening in the next couple weeks involving the podcast. So we will fill you guys in on all of that stuff. But in the meantime, I'm going to tell you guys about my weekend. Saturday, let's see what I do Saturday. I was working on a logo for Chad's uncle. He's got his own custom lures company called Fitzwater Custom Lures. If you guys get a chance, go check that out. He does looks like fly fishing lures. They're very cool, handmade. So I'm making a logo for him. He's Chad's uncle, and so I'm working on that right now. Me and Chad are kind of going back and forth on some design things, as always. When you're making a logo or anything for anybody, they're always going to have some input. So we're working through a couple things. So we got one, I guess, what would you call it? One mock done, so probably a couple more before it's completed. But while I was doing that, my girlfriend Meryl, who does hair for close friends and family still, she was a hairstylist for many years, she was touching up her friend's hair, doing some toner stuff. So that's what she was doing on Saturday. And then Sunday was an eventful day for me and my family. We usually go over to my parents' house for the Super Bowl. They got a pretty cool projector set up in the basement. Chad came over a few years back and watched the Super Bowl with us. And so we all went over there, did that. A couple of my brothers came over with their significant others and a couple of their kids. But in the morning, unfortunately, my father had a little bit of an eventful morning as he was, I think, sweeping off the sidewalk, the snow, from what he said, and he managed to slip. And my parents, if you guys aren't aware, are in their 70s. My mom just turned 76. My dad is 75. And unfortunately, when he fell, we later found out that he broke his right arm. It's not like a bad break. I mean, it's bad. He's in a lot of pain, and it's a break, so it's bad in that sense. But what happened was when he slipped, he fell, and he's already got a banged up right shoulder, so he thought he just dislocated his shoulder or had a stinger, as he claimed, because when he fell, he couldn't get up, for one, and then my mom had to get out and help him up. And then once they got him up, he gets in the car, and they were going to go pick up all the food and stuff for the Super Bowl party. Well, he gets in the car, and he can't move his arm. They still go and pick up the food, even though I had talked to him right before they ended up leaving, and I told him, you need to go to the hospital if you can't move your arm. And my mom told him the same thing. But us Rays are very hard-headed, and we tend to just say we'll see when it comes to things that are ailing us. But after they went to the store, my mom forced him to have my cousin Donnie, who we thank him very much for being able to do this, was able to take my dad to the emergency room, and they had to do x-rays. They wanted to do a CAT scan, of course, and he's fine aside from the fact that he does have a broken arm, and unfortunately, it's broken in a spot where it's like right here. Right where it goes into his shoulder, and he's got a crack, I believe he said, going down and then across. So they can't put a cast on it. It's too high up. They can't do surgery. It's not bad enough to warrant surgery. So unfortunately, my dad, for the next 6 weeks, will be sleeping in his lazy boy and wearing a sling. So if you would like, please send my father all of your positive and healing energy. He's going to need it as he's on the mend. But we got him back before the Super Bowl. We were able to watch the Super Bowl, and I'll fill you guys in later, but this is the one and only time that I was rooting for the Chiefs to win. And it hurts, it pains me to say that as a Broncos fan, but I think when you find out why, you will understand that I had to swallow my pride on this one. And it turned out great for Chad, and unfortunately it is a little bit of a somber thing as well for them, him and Hannah both. But we'll get into that later. We're here now. We're doing the podcast, and we're rocking and rolling. We are going to get into headlines. I'm going to try and keep it short, as I've got to call Chad, like I said, about 6:30, but I can talk. I'm very long-winded, as they say, so we'll see what happens. But let's get into headlines right now.
Headlines! Get your headlines here!
All right. As always, we start with the NFL here. We're not really going to do too much talking about the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. I just got us demonetized. We're not going to do too much talking about the big game in and of itself, because we're gonna go over that with Chad, and I would like to get as much time with Chad as possible. So we're gonna try and get as much as we can in with him when we talk to him. But there are a few things about the big game we are going to discuss, and we're going to start with the NFL right now.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
Real quick, as we get into the NFL, I did want to run down the list of the Hall of Fame guys that got in for 2024, as they all deserve a little bit of a shout out. We had Steve McMichael, defensive tackle, played for the Patriots, the Bears, and the Packers, got in this year. Dwight Freeney, defensive end for the Colts, primarily. Everybody remembers him there. But he ended up playing for the Chargers, the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Lions, and the Seahawks. And then we have the greatest return man in the history of the NFL, Devin Hester. He gets in this year, which is well-deserved. One of the best, like I said, punt returner, kick returners, and a decent wide receiver as well. Played primarily for the Bears, but also spent some time with the Falcons, the Ravens, and the Seahawks. And then we had Andre Johnson, one of the more well-known Houston Texans wide receivers, also played with the Colts and the Titans. Julius Peppers, defensive end, played with the Panthers, the Bears, and the Packers. And this one's a little bit of a homer one for me. Randy Gradishar, linebacker, played only for the Broncos. He was part of the vaunted Orange Crush defense, which we all know in the 70s brought the Broncos into a little bit of prominence. He is the only member of the Orange Crush to be inducted into the Hall of Fame at this point. So big shout out to Randy Gradishar, one of the best linebackers in the history of the NFL as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, I do wear orange and blue on the regular, so what are you going to do? Last one that made it in, Patrick Willis, another really good linebacker, played only for the San Francisco 49ers. That is your list of Hall of Fame inductees for the 2024 year. So good for them. Always love to see these guys get honored for putting their bodies through what they did for our entertainment, more or less. So congrats to all of the Hall of Fame inductees. And now let's move on to the big game, as it's estimated that more people watched Travis Kelce, also known as Taylor Swift's boyfriend, win the Super Bowl than people watched man land on the moon. The way that was written when I wrote it down was wrong. So we had more people watch this Super Bowl than we did have people watching one of the greatest feats of human history as we walked and landed on the moon. The Big Game 58 is now the most watched telecast in history, surpassing 123.4 million viewers across all platforms. Not only did it set the record for the most watched Super Bowl of all time, but CBS set the record for the largest audience ever for a single network with 120 million viewers. Nielsen, Fast National, and Adobe Analytics delivered this data, confirming that the coverage of the Kansas City Chiefs' 25-22 win in overtime against the 49ers, as well as Usher's halftime show, which, as we all know, the millennials and, the younger generations, that's our wheelhouse right now. Unfortunately, the old people, we had it happen at my parents' house watching the Super Bowl party, or watching the Super Bowl. I just got us demonetized again. I'm going to get us demonetized this entire episode if we were ever going to make money on it, because I'm probably going to say SB more than a few times. But we also, as I'm sure most everybody did at the big game watch parties, had folks in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, 70s all complaining about the Super Bowl halftime shows, and I just did it again. Damn it. Why? Now we're never going to make any money. But anyways, it was the most watched broadcast in the history of television. It was streamed across multiple platforms, including CBS, Paramount Plus, Nickelodeon, Univision, CBS Sports, as well as all NFL properties. So yeah, what are you going to do? I don't know if we'll have one. I would be interested to see, and we'll talk to Chad about this later, but with the Taylor Swift, the Swifties, you get that bump there. Will next year's be a decline? That's going to be a big thing that we're all going to have to see, because I am definitely interested, because I saw multiple articles about just Swifties having SB parties, and I doubt that happens next year if, say, God forbid, Taylor and Travis break up, or, the Chiefs aren't in the Super Bowl, which at this point you might as well expect them to be there, as much as that pains me to say. But yeah, I'm interested to see that. That's going to be something that's going to be, very intriguing to see if there's a huge drop off, because the NFL loved the Taylor Swift increase. And needless to say, all these people that are bitching about the fact that, I hate seeing Taylor Swift, they show her too much. Let's not forget the fact that there is less than 18 minutes of real football that we watch in a game, over 3 hours. So to sit here and say, oh my God, they show Taylor Swift too much. I think they showed her like 54 seconds in the biggest game of the year, the most watched game of the year. And not to mention, the NFL is reaping the benefits of it. Insanely. The amount of money they made just off of Taylor Swift dating one of their players is astronomical. And I don't know if unless they can keep the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and if you think it's scripted, maybe they will. But if you don't, and next year they're not there, I will be very interested to see if it will be as watched. I bet there will be a decline in the amount of people that watch, because I think I heard something about like 60% of America, basically, if you put that 124 million just in America, would be watching the game. So we'll see if it's the same next year. I'm very interested to see that. Also, in terms of betting, we had a record $185.6 million that was bet on the Super Bowl. Damn it, I did it again. Son of a... I think this episode is going to be called The Game That Shall Not Be Named, because I've already ruined it. But yeah, 185.6 million was bet. Beats 2022 by nearly 6 million. Everybody be betting. So, what are you going to do when you're in bed with all of the huge betting companies? Of course, there's going to be a ton of money bet on it. And next year, I know for a fact there will be more money bet on it, with or without Taylor Swift, because we all love sports betting, and we all are going to just keep betting money on it. And whether it's you just bet a $5 bet or not, it is what it is. You're feeding the machine, and we're all more than likely guilty of it, especially if you watch sports as much as we do here in the Fringe Fanatics realm. But crazy to see just the amount of money that's getting, thrown around. You got Mattress Mac on the regular betting a whole bunch of money. Drake on the regular bets $500,000. Betting's not going anywhere. It's going to fuel sports for the foreseeable future until whatever happens. Maybe there's a collapse of the internet or society. That's about all it's going to stop betting from continuing to thrive and flourish, because it's not going anywhere. It is now a regular part of watching sports. We see it on every commercial while we watch sports. Not every commercial, but every commercial run, you see it. So, yeah, betting is the end-all, be-all for the total entertainment of sports. So, with that, it's time to move into the NBA because I gotta keep flying. I've already been long-winded enough. So let's move into the NBA.
Take it roll! Take it roll! Outlet! Outlet! Rain dance! Sandy, come on! Sandy!
T! Come on. I'm burning.
I was listening to 92.5 earlier today, which is Altitude Sports, which carries all of the Nuggets, Avalanche games, as well as their sports talk mainly covers Avalanche and Nuggets and, an equal amount of Broncos. But they were playing that quite a bit today as they were talking about Julian Strawther from the Nuggets missing a bunch of shots last night. But that's besides the point. We have a couple more days left before the All-Star break for the NBA. And just to give you a quick rundown of the events this weekend, Friday, February 16th, we have the Ruffles NBA All-Star Celebrity Game, which all of this is happening at Lucas Oil Stadium. And we mentioned last week that all of the stuff Friday and Saturday, I believe, will be played on the LED court. So, tune in just for 5 minutes to check that out. As we mentioned last week as well, the NHL and the NBA both usually have the better all-star events throughout the weekends compared to the NFL. 7 p.m. we've got the All-Star Celebrity Game, and then at 9 p.m. Eastern you have the Panini Rising Stars, which is always a great game that features all of the guys that are moving up the ranks in the NBA. Saturday, February 17th, we are going to have at 8 p.m. Eastern time the State Farm All-Star Saturday Night, which is going to include the Kia Skills Challenge, the Starry 3-point contest, the Starry 3-point contest, and then we will have the Stephen Curry versus Sabrina 3-point challenge and the Slam Dunk challenge all wrapped up into one very entertaining morsel on Saturday night. And then Sunday we are going to have the G League Up Next game, which is going to feature Colin Gillespie from the Nuggets, which that's what my little homer tidbit is going to be. He will be featured in that as he has been averaging a triple-double since he's gotten relegated to the G League, as the Nuggets have been very healthy this year. And then that's at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, sorry. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you have the 73rd NBA All-Star Game. Be prepared for the over-under to be about 250 points, if not more. So there is no defense played in the All-Star Game. Now let's move on, as you all should tune into that. We do have a little bit of controversy as the Knicks are filing a protest with the NBA to dispute their 105-103 loss against the Houston Rockets on last night, actually. The Knicks decided to file this evening after the NBA's last 2-minute report and game crew chief Ed Malloy acknowledged that the foul call on Jalen Brunson of the Knicks against Houston's Aaron Holiday inside the final second was incorrectly called. Holiday ended up making the 2 free throws with less than a second left on the clock and intentionally missed the third free throw to run out the clock and ensure the 105-103 victory. The Knicks aren't scheduled to play the Rockets again this season, but the hope of the protest is either to pick up a tie or tie game with the start of overtime or somehow remedy the Knicks' loss. There's only been 6 protests in league history to have been upheld. The NBA has not often upheld protests in its history, only the 6 times, like I mentioned. The last time it happened was on December 19th, 2007, when Miami Heat center Shaquille O'Neal was incorrectly ruled to have 6 fouls when he only had 5. The game was resumed on March 8th, 8th, 2008, but neither team scored in the 51.9 seconds that was replayed from overtime, and the Hawks still won 114 to 111. And before the game was even resumed, Shaq was traded to the Suns, so he wasn't even involved in it, which is kind of hilarious when you really think about it. Moving on to the next one, I just want to mention this real quick. The San Antonio Spurs, Victor Wembanyama had a career night in the 122-99 victory against, once again, the Toronto Raptors at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. It was... like I said, it was his first career triple-double with 27 points, 14 rebounds, and 10 blocks. He became just the 6th rookie in NBA history to record a triple-double with blocks. Most guys in the NBA, I mean, if you're really good at blocking the basketball, you average like 3 to 4 a game, and that's high. So the fact this guy just got 10 is insane. But once again, we are also talking about a freak who literally looks like he shouldn't exist in the realm of our existence, being 7'5". So good on him. I think it's only going to continue. He will probably have more than a few triple doubles with blocks, but good on him. Let's run down the standings real quick. Just going to touch on the top 3 in each one because I got to call Chad in 5 minutes. I'm already behind the clock here. So in the Eastern Conference, we have the Boston Celtics with 41 wins, 12 losses. They are 8-2 in their last 10. Behind them are the red-hot Cleveland Cavaliers, 35 wins, 17 losses, and the Milwaukee Bucks, who annihilated the Nuggets last night. Turned the game off in the third quarter. I think it was like 90-something to 60. Was not a good game for the Nuggets. Jamal Murray got shin splints. KCP shouldn't have started. That's my homerism for right now. So the Bucks are at 35 wins, 19 losses. Moving into the Western Conference, the Minnesota Timberwolves, 37 wins, 16 losses. They are 7-3 in their last 10 games. They are looking really good heading into the All-Star break. The Oklahoma City Thunder are in second, 36 wins, 17 losses. And then in third are the LA Clippers, 35 wins, 17 losses. The Clippers are on fire. The Oklahoma City Thunder might be the surprise of the year. Young team that just keeps winning, and they look really good. Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama are probably neck and neck. I haven't looked at the numbers in terms of Rookie of the Year, but that is going to wrap it up for the NBA. As I go real fast through this, time to get into the NHL. All right. Toronto Maple Leafs defenseman is suspended 5 games by the NHL Department of Player Safety for his cross-check to the head and neck area of Ottawa Senators rookie forward Ridley Gregg on Saturday night after he scored an empty net slap shot goal with 5.1 seconds remaining. This wasn't your average empty net goal. I mean, he had a clean breakaway. And, oh my God, sorry. I didn't write down the guy's name. No, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second while I look this up. Oh no, this is terrible. Oh, Morgan Rielly. I'm sorry. So, Morgan Rielly was behind him probably about 15, 20 feet, and Ridley wound up and just delivered a rocket into the back of the net. And as we all know, the NHL is one that allows their players to kind of self-police the game. Was what Morgan Rielly did warranted? No, not by any means. A check into the boards is one thing, but I mean, he cross-checked him right in the side of the neck. It didn't look good. Ridley was down for a bit, and then, of course, there was an all-out fracas afterwards. But now he's suspended 5 games. Everybody was thinking it was going to be at least 6 because usually when you have an in-person meeting with the NHL Department of Player Safety, it's like guaranteed 6. But nevertheless, 5 games for him. If you haven't yet, go check out the video. It's fairly entertaining. Ridley Gregg is definitely enjoying playing the role of villain, and he got what was coming to him in the sense of old school hockey. But let's move on to the Chicago Blackhawks. They are hoping star rookie Connor Bedard can return to game action next week after missing 6 weeks with a fractured jaw. Bedard was the number 1 pick of the 2023 NHL draft, as we all know. He suffered the injury on the January 5th when on the receiving end of a big hit from New Jersey Devils defenseman Brendan Smith. He underwent surgery and returned to skating 7 days later. Reports at the time would be that he had missed 6 to 8 weeks of the season before being ready to return. So good for them. Right in at 6 weeks. He's back. He was at the All-Star game passing pucks to people and stuff out on the ice as he was a member of the All-Star selections, but was not able to participate due to still healing. But that is all I've got for the NHL. Let's run down the standings real quick. In the Eastern Conference, the Boston Bruins are sitting at 52 games played with 32 wins, 11 losses, and 9 overtime losses for a grand total of 73 points. In the Metropolitan Division, we have the New York Rangers, 34 wins, 16 losses, 3 overtime losses for a grand total of 71 points. Moving into the Western Conference, we have the Dallas Stars in first place. 32 wins, 14 losses, 6 overtime losses for a grand total of 70 points. A little bit of homerism right here. The Colorado Avalanche are directly behind them. 32 wins, 17 losses, 4 overtime losses for a grand total of 68 points. And the Avalanche are struggling a little bit. They're having a little bit of issues with goaltending and just struggling when the really good guys like McKinnon and such don't play well. But moving into the Pacific Division, the Vancouver Canucks, 35 wins, 12 losses, 6 overtime losses for a grand total of 76 points. They are definitely the best team this year, and good on them. We will see if after the break they can continue that. Let me real quick, I just want to talk about the MLB because this is a continuation story that I'm happy they caught this son of a gun.
Vaughn, a juvenile delinquent in the offseason in his major league debut.
I'm gonna light your ass up, meat.
Vaughn into the windup in his first offering.
Just a bit outside.
He tried the corner and missed.
So the Wichita police, if you remember the story last week in regards to the Jackie Robinson statue was stolen, have made an arrest today, actually, after nearly 3 weeks. And Ricky Alderette, maybe Alderete, who cares? This asshole doesn't deserve to have his name said correctly, as this guy is just some vile scum. He is 45 years old, and he is charged with felony theft, value over 25 grand, aggravated criminal damage to property, identity theft, and making false information. The statue, which police said was valued at $75,000, was stolen from McAdams Park, the home of League 42, a youth baseball league for about 600 children that commissioned and erected the statue in 2021. I can't remember the name of the place, but they actually still have a cast of the statue because this jagoff, Ricky, cut the statue off at the feet and then threw it in a dumpster and lit it on fire. So it was ruined. Thankfully, the place where they got the casting done is in Colorado, and they still have a copy of the cast there. So thankfully, Ricky, you failed, dude, and now you're in jail for being a dick. But you didn't do anything because the statue's going to go back. And now you're screwed, so Screw you, Ricky Alderete, or whatever the hell your name is. You jagaloon. All right. That's it for headlines, guys. The music break is coming right now. Crypt Keeper is the band of the month. The name of this song is the Crypt Keeper Stomp, off of their latest album, which came out this year. The world is dying, and we're reaping the benefits. If you haven't yet and you enjoy this music, please go check out Crypt Keeper on all things streaming, wherever you get your music in the ether. Make sure to check them out. They are an awesome rock and roll band out of Denver, Colorado. They also include some buddies of mine. The bass player from Flight Kamikaze is the lead singer and guitar player of this band, and I misspoke last week. Our buddy Mike Tooley is not the bass player of this band. I misthought it's another band that he plays bass in. He is the drummer of this band, and he is a really good drummer. And he also builds some really cool old cars. So if you're ever on Instagram, go check out Mike Tooley, and you can see a couple of the things that he's done. But regardless, this song is the Crypt Keeper Stomp. We will be right back. Stick around. We are back for the second time of episode 72, and I have my partner in crime on the line, Mr. Chadley.
I am. I'm on the other end, man.
Yeah, I flipped the camera to you, and I set the creepy head up with a KC hat on it, on top of your chair.
That's awesome. Oh my God.
That's you today, so we're looking at you right now. But yeah, so we're back from the music break. You guys just heard Crypt Keeper. The name of that song was the Crypt Keeper Stomp, off of their new album from 2023, The World is Dying, and We're Reaping the Benefits. If you like what you heard, make sure to go give them a like and a follow on all things streaming music-wise. And visit Crypt Keeper Denver. Make sure to put Denver in there. cryptkeeperdenver.bandcamp.com if you want to see when they're playing next, if you're in the Denver area, or if you want to purchase music directly from them, or merch, or that album, which all of these songs will be playing are off of. But it's time to take a shot. Chad, I don't know if you have a shot. You probably don't.
I don't have anything in front of me. No, thank you. I just had some root beer, actually.
Okay, so he's still having beer of some sort. It's root beer.
Yeah.
We don't say root
Super
beer.
hardcore,
It's
man.
root beer. It's like R-U-T. It's like rut, but root.
Yeah.
All right, so cheers to each and everybody, or to everyone who's been listening or watching. We appreciate you guys greatly. If you haven't yet, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all things social media. And if you haven't yet, make sure to rate us 5 stars and leave us a review. That's a new thing now. You got to leave us a review because the review makes it seem like we're relevant, apparently. So leave a review.
Yeah, please do it.
Yeah, do it. Otherwise, I don't know what's going to happen. But
yeah.
Cheers to you guys. We appreciate you guys always tuning in. We love you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Just pretend you did a shot, Chad.
That's what I'm doing.
All right. So in the highlights or headlines, I mentioned most watched Super Bowl ever, 123.4 million viewers across all platforms. I did say, though, I will be extremely interested next year if, say, the dynasty that is the Chiefs are not there in the Super Bowl, or say that they are and Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are not together, will the numbers see a dip?
Oh, yeah, I'm really interested in that because it seems like most of the games where the Chiefs play, they're drawing huge numbers. Didn't this, I was wondering about this, maybe you know, didn't this double the AFC and the NFC championship games, which are around like 55 million, right?
Well, Chad, more people watched this Super Bowl than watched man land on the moon.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. Is like
I'm sure it probably
nuts.
did. I don't know what the numbers are off the top of my head.
55 million. And for them to like more than double it, it just, I mean, obviously it's the Super Bowl, but like that's insane, man.
It
CBS
is insane.
Just raked in all the commercials. I mean, there was a few good commercials.
Well, yeah,
like
see,
the Doritos
I
one.
wanted to ask you this. I mean, it's tough because we'll go ahead and say this. You were at Don's. We know that.
Yeah.
You were at Don's. Can you hear the commercials? Do they have it playing?
I can't. I mean, you can hear a little bit of it, but you know, with everything
there's
going
like
on, you really
200
can't hear
people
much.
crammed in there.
I mean, it's ironic you say that because I just got done like YouTubing some of the commercials earlier and was actually able to enjoy them. But it's a blessing in disguise because then I didn't have to listen to Tony Romo's raspy voice.
Oh, dude. He ruined the call at the end of the game so bad. Just
okay.
diarrhea of the mouth. What?
What did he say?
Oh, you didn't hear it? Well, it's just like, dude, Jim Nantz, like, dude, the pros know, like, when something like that happens, you make the call and you just let it breathe. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You let people soak in what's happening. And, dude, Tony was like, oh, my God, Jim, that was the play. Andy called it up. And, like, then he goes and, like, describes the entire play. And then, like, it seemed like he, like, had a whole, like, basically he didn't talk enough, which he talked a lot, dude. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the last time Tony Romo calls a game, especially that big. But I know all year long people have been bitching about Tony Romo and just like how since he started, everybody was like, oh my God, he's so good. And this year, everybody's like, he kind of sucks. And I think it was apparent in the Super Bowl. But yeah, you should go watch the final call. It is terrible. He's just like talking.
Gonna look this up.
But on 92.5 today, they played a couple of the like I think they played like the South Korean call of the win and like the Spanish call. And dude, they were so awesome. Yeah, it's always better.
It's like seriously, I wish I understood what they're saying because I mean when they say goal, it's like so much more passionate, man. Like
dude,
that's the thing. Like,
the South Korean one of the guys is just screaming. He's just like, ah!
But the radio calls are even better, man. Like these guys are just like that's the natural instinct. I actually did hear the San Fran radio calls, and it was so satisfying because they couldn't hold back. They just mundane as possible, and the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl, and you just hear this long pause, and just one of them goes, "Dang it!"
Son of a
yeah, it's like man, they're fans watching it with everybody. That's perfect.
That's like the dude from fucking New England. He was a quarterback for New England back in the day, but he's like the color dude, and he is the worst. Like anytime the Patriots did anything good, like he would just like totally trounce over the fucking play-by-play guy. Just be like, yeah, woo.
Yeah, I mean, there's a level to like holding it back, but that's what's great about the radio is like they can just do whatever they will. Like,
I mean, the radio you gotta
insane.
paint the picture a little bit, you know. Tony Romo just needed to shut the hell up.
Oh man, I mean, I'll give him this. He actually did a decent job at like predicting the plays that kind of got him famous, but it's just the stuff he says, man. And yeah, I did come across a few of those articles about him like ruining the final call, but I didn't click on my knee and check that out. That's a bummer, man.
Yeah,
that's what the great thing about watching the Dons. Like it is just like you're into the game and what's going on the screen because you can't really hear a whole lot. But when it did happen, that place erupted, man. It was nuts. Like I'll never forget that moment in my life.
Well, and then how serendipitous Cole, who they bring back.
Oh man, hell nuts! Like the first thing I had to do on my way home was I called my Uncle Jacob because my Uncle Jacob has been wanting them back. When we did get them back, he was so stoked about it. And then he had his up and downs moments and adversity, just like Patrick said. But as soon as he made that game winning catch, I was like, damn, Uncle Jacob, there you go, you got your wish, man. Nuts. Dude, okay, like, let's just get into the meat of it, man. Like, what? To the average fan, who's a non-San Fran and Kansas City fan, a boring Super Bowl then to them up till the fourth quarter. I mean, it was a defensive standoff, dude.
It really was. The first quarter was decent. Like, it seemed like, oh, wow, like, I think San Fran's going to win this game. They were
doing what they wanted.
Yeah, they were basically just doing whatever, like you said, they were doing whatever they wanted. The Chiefs looked out of sorts. Travis Kelce almost assaulted an elderly man. Things were going awry. It didn't look good.
I was really worried after that, man. I was. And before, there's like a stat that's like before that thing, and he had like 2 catches, and then after that interaction, he had like 83.
Yeah,
finished with 93 or something. But yeah, it was wild. Yeah, it didn't look good, man. But what really changed it, and I'd be a fool without admitting it. Without that muff punt, man, I don't know how that game goes. That saved us.
Oh, it's 3 plays really. It's the muffed punt. It's
the
CMC's fumble on the 1 and the extra point. Because the extra point, dude, if they had the extra point, the game's pretty much over.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
oh yeah,
I don't know. Really, I mean, it would have been over.
You never know. Well, you never know because it does change the complexion of things because it changes the play calling. Because if they're up 4, maybe we run a different play that happens to work and we're able to get in the end zone rather than us settling for 3, which tied it up at 16. Which, I mean, dude, there's a case for Harrison Butker should have been the MVP. That dude has been solid, man.
He has the longest field goal in Super Bowl history right after fucking Jake Moody.
They were just kind of like fighting back and forth for it, really.
Yeah. Well, I think it was 55 then 57.
Yeah, that's the way it kind of went. And, I mean, dude, I'm sure it'll get beaten. But, I mean, as far as, like, the kickers today, and this is a little side topic, like, who do you think is better now, Justin Tucker or Harrison Butker? Tucker missed, I think, 3 field goals this year, and
I think
like Butker had longer ones.
Honestly, I think Kaimi Fairbairn has the actual record now, but he has way less kicks than Justin Tucker in terms of total.
And he has way less than Harrison too.
Yeah. So, but I mean, dude, I think Justin Tucker's still up there. Butker doesn't have any of the longest, but I mean, you can argue it now.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's really moving up there, man. But
Butker's clutch, man. He's
reliable. He is, and he got us like tied up. Those plays were huge, but I mean, we took advantage of them. And I mean, I saw a good post that was like kind of like wrapped up what they did wrong, and when you look at it, it was the inexperience, and that's really why a lot of people did, even despite the fact that they were underdogs, pick the Chiefs, is because of the experience. They didn't know the rules for overtime. They should. Why would you admit that?
Well, dude, now today they say that they did make overtime plans, but then when you hear the Chiefs side of things, they're like, we've been planning for this shit since preseason. We've had shit installed. We talk about it like all the time, and then they were out. And once the postseason hit, they were practicing it. The 49ers didn't,
dude. They did it twice. Yeah, they didn't. I mean, of course they walk it back today like a pussy ass move. But when they brought it up, there were 4 different ones. That if it was just one, that'd be different. But I think it was like 4 or 5 different 49ers and the coach. The coach even
Well,
said,
I mean, dude, like if you look at the top headlines right now, like I've got the ESPN Super Bowl top headlines. On ESPN, the top headline: Shanahan, 49ers made overtime plan before playoffs. The last one, Niners players, we didn't know overtime rules. Like,
God,
who's right,
hilarious.
dude? I mean, you had guys after the game saying we didn't know what was going on. And then, I hate to say it, dude, Shanahan's words coming out and saying, we wanted the ball third, dude, that's a fucking loser's mentality. That's a loser's mentality. It's either that's a loser's mentality or you're trying to make up for the fact you didn't know. And
maybe you knew. I'm sure he knew, but he just didn't prepare enough.
No.
And if at all. And that's just it. It's like, I thought when Boomer and McFarland, when McFarland and Chris Boomer had those guys, when he asked Andy Reid about it in the post-game conference, he had such like kind of like a slide, it was like a slide at Shanahan for not knowing, but he was like, you never know the right or wrong thing to do there, but yeah, we've kind of been preparing for that, and that's just it. Yeah, like Super Bowl week, they prepared for it twice, and it does make such a big difference because we got an extra play out of it. We wouldn't have gone for it on 4th and 1 if we already knew we needed a touchdown.
Well,
or a field goal to tie it up.
Chris Jones came out and said, had the 49ers scored a touchdown, when the Chiefs scored, they would have went for 2. And I guarantee you, they would have fucking got it, dude.
They probably would have, the way the momentum was going. Because in that final drive, once you saw like that play, like I heard this stat where on Travis Kelce in that overtime where he caught that pass and took off down the sideline, he got up to like 19.8, which doesn't sound like a lot compared to like Tyreek.
He's fucking like 34 years old, dude.
Exactly. And they said that's the fastest he's run with like the NGS stats since 2018. So that boy, like, he had some motivation behind him, and that's just it. Like, that was on that screen that got us down to the 1 right before the Hardman play. I mean, he was like dragging guys. Freaking Nick Bosa had one leg trying to drag him with 3 other guys. I mean, they wanted it more at the end. Like, you could just take a look at the defense, and both defenses were gassed, but luckily because of the timing of things and the way Shanahan kind of fucked it up, we were able to take advantage of that.
Well, let's talk about the defense real quick. Like we mentioned in the beginning, it was a defensive standoff. When going into halftime, I'll tell you when I knew it was over, when the 49ers went in with only 10 points in the halftime. And I was like, you're going to let Mahomes come out and get the ball with only because what was the score right then at halftime? Was it 10-6?
Right at halftime, it was 10-3.
Oh, 10-3, that's right. Yeah.
Because of the Pacheco fumble, I think it was, and they drove down like 80 yards after that. They had a bunch of momentum, and they were about to score and make it 17-3. And then, we made a huge stop, and then it just ended up being 10-3, which is nuts. Like, that was a huge failure on their part.
It really was. And like I said, that's like when you knew it was over. But huge loss for the 49ers, dude. The sniper, Dre Greenlaw.
Oh,
dude.
man, yeah, that changed up everything. I mean, when Travis Kelce, when Dre Greenlaw was in there, he had 1 catch for 1 yard. And then after that, 9 for 93. Like, that changed everything. And, it sucks, but they did take advantage of that. He was winning against Travis Kelce, but man, that made a big difference. But the extra point, dude, Leo Chenal, he got his hand up, but that was such a low kick that changed everything. But you're right, actually. Let's go back to the defense, man. I mean, if it wasn't for Chris Jones pressuring Brock Purdy in those 3rd and 4s and that third down, that's a whole different. Yeah, I think they score.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
Yeah, I mean. They were moving the ball pretty damn well in overtime, and then they got that huge holding penalty, which if not a lot of people remember, that's when George Kittle ran to the locker room. I don't know if he had to pull a Paul Pierce and take a dump or something, but
yeah, that was very weird.
Yeah, they showed him run to the locker room, and then he's running back on there. But the play where he was out, his backup got that holding penalty where they had a big game, and then it set him back, and then we were able to get him stopped in OT.
Well, there's people talking about the reason Kelsey was so pissed is because they subbed him out, and the dude who came in for him missed the block.
And I get where he's coming from, and I said earlier, I thought Andy Reid's response about it was really cool. He even said like, "Oh, it keeps me young," and they were pretty chill about it all. But Kelsey's kind of incorrect in that anyway. He's just fired up.
Dude, that was
the height of the game.
I'm not gonna try and mar it, like what all happened, but that wasn't a good look at all. I think I don't know if you saw the tweet. Sorry to interrupt you, but did you see the tweet from AJ Brown?
Oh yeah,
where he's like, "If that was me, I'd be out of the fucking league."
I'd be out of the league. Yeah.
I mean it is true though. Like, I don't want to bring race into it, but I hate to say it. Like, if Tyreek or if it was Kadarius or Tony,
yeah,
I think it would have been a different outcome.
I think it's just all subjective on like what coach it is, and how the coaches have a relationship with their players. But what I was getting at was not so much that like Travis being out or like the tight end, like Noah Gray basically caused that fumble.
Yeah.
Pacheco's got to hold on to the ball there. So it's just Travis being overhyped, having like too much on his shoulders, thinking, "Oh, if I would have been there, I would have made a big difference." Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. He shouldn't have gone up to Reed like that. But like Pacheco was trying to do too much. He let the guy pull his arm, and then he makes a huge mistake. He didn't have that great of a game. He kind of made up for it towards the end, but the first play of the second half, and we're thinking like, okay, we got a field goal. We have a chance to go down. We get the ball after half. First play of the first half, Pacheco fumbles it. You could say it's kind of on Mahomes. It was a little bit of a bad pitch, but if it hits you like that, you're a running back. You got to catch that.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of Mahomes, man, another MVP, another Super Bowl. 3 by the time he's 28. Like I mentioned earlier.
He did it with his legs, man.
Yeah, 333 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, the 1 interception. But he was the leading rusher for the Kansas City Chiefs. 66 yards, 9 carries. I'm not gonna say he's a hell of a game. I'm not gonna say he's better than Brady until he has that many Super Bowls. I mean, I can't. But Mahomes is the most athletic, clutch quarterback to ever play in the NFL.
I'd say that's a pretty good definition. Yeah.
It hurts me internally to say that.
Probably that gives you stomach cramps and stuff, like it maybe like hurts.
Yeah, I think I have indigestion right now, or maybe I'm having a heart attack, or it's just heartburn. I don't know.
It's got to be rough, and I'm sure that's how you felt watching John Elway, Hall of Famer, hand the Super Bowl trophy to the Chiefs. I cannot tell you how gratifying that was. I didn't understand why at first till you explained it to me, but it did feel good.
Yeah, I guess apparently it was like the 25th anniversary of the last time he won or something like that, which I don't
1998. Yeah.
I don't remember them doing that for anybody else. I don't remember who handed the trophy off last year, but
I'm sure they take turns with different Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
Either way, yeah, that did suck. And it was just I didn't
funny.
watch that. I'm not going to lie to you. Once the catch was made by Mecole, I just turned it off. And I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, that had to stop, man. But,
real quick,
hey,
I don't want to keep you too much longer. But
no,
I haven't told anybody why you're not here yet. And I did mention, that there is a reason why, and I mentioned it in the beginning, that I was rooting for the Chiefs to win. I didn't want to tell people, I didn't want to spill your tea. It's not my tea to spill.
Good. You're good.
So I'll let you fill people in right now as to why you are not here, and I'm looking at this head with a Kansas City Chiefs hat on top of your chair.
Yeah, I get you. That's a nice setup, though. I dig it, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things about life where it sucks. My longtime girlfriend, her dad got sick. I've talked about it before on the podcast, and the cancer eventually took him. And anybody out there, listeners and stuff, want to extend prayers for their family. Well, that's what I'm here doing now, like trying to support and then being there for the services and everything like that. It's ridiculously unfortunate. Cancer fucking sucks, and everybody, like, I have another guy that I went to grade school with. I saw on Facebook where his dad is battling it right now, and it sucks. It's awful how many people it affects, and hopefully one day some AI can fix this issue that we're going through.
AI probably would fucking cure cancer at this point, because we fucking can't, because it's not advantageous financially for people. But yeah, fuck
exactly.
cancer. Needless to say, fuck cancer. Don Powell is his name, correct?
Who's that?
What's his name again?
Greg Duncan.
Oh shit. I just made up a name, dude. Now I look like a fucking asshole.
I
just
feel
made
like
up
what
a name.
you're reading it was. I'm not sure. Yeah, I was like, where did you get that from? I don't know. But
Greg Duncan. Yeah, that would make sense
Yeah.
considering him and Hannah have the same last name. But so Greg Duncan, unfortunately, it was Friday, right?
Yeah, good guy, man. Really, really good guy.
He loved Kiss, which
Yeah.
I'm all for anybody that loves Kiss. That's some good rock and music right there.
AC/DC, Def Leppard, and stuff like that. He had real good musical taste. But yeah, I definitely know where Hannah got all of her smart asses and Nissim from. So he's a good guy.
Yeah, for sure. And we're sending all of our prayers and stuff to Hannah and her family as they're dealing with this difficult time. But that is why Chad is not here. And that is
He's also
why.
a big fan of the Chiefs, too.
Yeah.
I almost forgot. It's very big. Like, his basement is, like, always been my ultimate, like, man cave wish.
Just
Chiefs
full of-
memorabilia everywhere. So I really wanted it happened, like you said, Saturday morning, right after midnight. So I really wanted the Chiefs to kind of win for the whole family and everything going on. So things worked out. And, dude, you can't deny that. It was probably one of the, even like I was getting to earlier with the boring game. That was, at first, I am a big fan of defensive games, obviously with it being the Chiefs. But even if it hadn't been the Chiefs, I love games like that. But then when you get down to the fourth quarter in OT, I'd say that's up there with top 5 Super Bowls of all time.
You would say that, but I will allow you to have that honor tonight, if you will. I told you before you left when I knew that you were, well, not before you left, but I mean on Friday that with everything going on, I did hope that they won this time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
As much as it pains me to say.
Yep.
And I texted that same thing to Hannah as well. I was just like, I texted her last night because I didn't want to fucking... It's hard when shit like this goes on. And like we mentioned, Meryl's gone through a whole bunch of shit in terms of loss and stuff. So we're here for you guys as always. And Meryl, like I said, is willing to talk with Hannah anytime she needs it. But it's just a fucking bummer, dude. It sucks.
Oh, yeah.
But I did want to kind of parlay this into the news I had about the podcast. We're not going away by any means. We're here to stay. That is a fact. But with everything going on, we did kind of want to give Hannah a break from, us recording. We're probably going to take a break until at least the beginning of March, tentatively. We are planning on starting back up in March. But while we take a break, it's not like we're just stopping. I am going to take some time.
We're still going to share content, and different, stuff on social media, and all that will still be active, of course.
Yeah. We're basically going to take this time to allow her to kind of deal with everything the best that she can. And then we are also going to, like I said, it's not going to be like we're sedentary. We're going to be continuing to make moves. A lot of the stuff you see on video is going to get updated. We're going to have cooler, animated cut screens and shit like that. We're also just going to kind of find a way to streamline things to give you guys as much information as possible, as easily to digest as possible. and also still be able to manage our own lives. So that's the plan right now. We are going to take a 2-week break, like I said, until March. We will be back hopefully the first week of March. I do feel bad as Crypt Keeper jumped on this month, so like Chad said, we're still going to be sharing stuff. So when the day when we normally record or put the episode out, I will still be sharing Crypt Keeper stuff. So things.
There's only 2 weeks,
Yeah.
If we come back to the beginning of March or something too, you never know. We could just bring them back as well. I'm sure they got more than. They've got probably a bunch of hits we could play.
Yeah, for sure. And that's other stuff we'll figure out as well. But I'm going to let Chad go. Like, he's taking time away from family right now to chat with us, and we appreciate him jumping on greatly. But
of course.
Yeah.
I'm always willing to talk about the Super Bowl. And, I'm excited to come back, too, after these 2 weeks because we'll have to talk about March Madness.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like...
my Jayhawks just got blown out like hell last night, man. So I'm going to be desperate for another championship.
Awful. That's the thing. When we come back, we got March Madness. The NBA and the NHL are going to be getting ready to start winding down in a sense in terms of teams being there as the playoffs are getting ready to ramp up. But we are going to come back better than ever, for one, and we're going to try and get you guys as much stuff as we can to keep you entertained and to keep you bringing more people to us to listen. So I'm going to let Chad go, but before I do, I'm going to ask him, what time is it, Chad? If there's a time in the episode, which is usually now, where something happens, what is that?
I think it's time for some John Daly. I think it's time to hit it hard.
That is absolutely right. And on that note, Chad, I'm going to let you go, and then I'm going to water your plants before I leave here and lock up your house. Well,
thank you.
I love you, dude. Thank you for jumping on with me. This shot I'm about to take right now, I normally would do this after the Daily Dose of Excellence, but this one goes out to Greg Duncan.
Oh, yeah, man.
We'll also have a little thing at the end of the episode for him as well. We appreciate you guys sticking around. Chad, thank you for jumping on. We appreciate it.
Of course, man. Thanks for keeping it going.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Cheers to the Duncan family. We love you guys. Chad, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. I'll see you soon.
All right,
Take it easy.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Chad's out of here. I'm going to take this shot. Like I just said, this one goes out to Greg Duncan. It's such a bummer what happened. I know what it's... I don't personally know what it's like to lose someone that close, but my girlfriend Meryl lost her father a few years back, and it's insanely hard, especially when it's not something you're expecting. So, again, to Greg Duncan, to each and every one of you that have tuned in, and if you're listening or watching right now, we appreciate you guys greatly. Cheers. Hug your loved ones. Fuck cancer. John Daly's about to hit it hard.
I hit it hard, man. So far, man. No laying up, no holding back. Ain't afraid of nothing, it's a natural fact. I hit it long, man. Till it's gone, man. Keep taking chances, living large. I hit it hard.
And we are back for the final time of episode 72. It is the Daily Dose of Excellence, and we are featuring someone who has been a member of the Rockies organization for a long time now. Ginny CAVNAR will be making history as she is the first play-by-play announcer full-time that is a woman. It's a long time coming. It probably should have happened a long time ago, but Ginny CAVNAR, out of all people, is one of the most deserving. She was with the Rockies, like I mentioned, for the last 12 years as a backup play-by-play announcer, as well as several other roles. I mean, she did the pre-post game shows. She's done sideline reporting, if you will, or whatever you want to call it, foul line reporting. Before she came to the Rockies, she covered the San Diego Padres for 5 years. Ginny CAVNAR has been paving the way for women in sports business for 2 decades. She's had roles that range from host to play-by-play to reporter, and regularly contributes to MLB Network Radio on SiriusXM. In 2018, CAVNAR became the first woman since 1993 to do play-by-play on a national telecast when she called the Padres-Rockies game. She also has one of the greatest Rockies home run calls. She kind of like coined the phrase "fire up the fountains," which anytime you heard that, it warmed my heart, as that's not something we get to hear that often, as I don't really watch the Rockies anymore. And honestly, I don't know how I will watch the Rockies, as I think they're still trying to figure out where they will be broadcast, as I think the MLB is actually having to absorb some of the regional sports networks that have now been bankrupted by the umbrella corporation that owned them. But she is now the play-by-play announcer for the Oakland Athletics, soon to be the Las Vegas Athletics. It's well deserved. Like I said, well beyond due. She's been covering baseball for 20 years, basically. Her dad was a coach. Extremely knowledgeable. I would compare her as like the Doris Burke of the MLB. If you know Doris Burke, she is one of the great play-by-play announcers for the NBA. Needless to say, it doesn't matter what the hell you are. If you're a man, woman, whatever you identify as, you can talk about sports. And that's the one beautiful thing about Fringe Fanatics, is that we are on the fringe for a reason. I don't look like I would like sports, and Chad doesn't look like he would like sports, let alone do we look like some dudes that could sit here and talk about sports for an hour and a half, if not longer, if we really could. We just know it's hard for you guys to digest it if it's longer than an hour and a half. But that's the thing, man. It doesn't matter if you're passionate about sports, if you love sports. That's why we're here, because we just want to provide the information to you guys who might not like the normal way to intake sports. I mean, not everybody likes to watch the 4-letter network, ESPN, or NFL Network. That's why we do what we do, not only just because we enjoy it and love it, but and it gives us a chance to hang out, and I'm sure our significant others enjoy their breaks from us. So that's it for this episode. It's been a weird one. I hope it wasn't too weird, as I was here by my lonesome in Chad's house without him or Hannah. And unfortunately, like I said, it is a bummer that he isn't here. And I wish that it was for a reason other than what it actually is for. But on that note, that is now my keyword, my key phrase. On that note, I love Chad. He's gone. I love you guys. To the Duncans, all of our good vibes and good feelings are being sent towards you guys as you deal with a very difficult time. We will be back March. Stick around for 2 weeks as we take a break, a much needed break, and a break that isn't just a break. Like I said, we will be coming back bigger and stronger than ever. And that's where we need you guys to bring our viewers and listeners in stronger and bigger than ever. We need like $6 million man type status. You know what I'm saying? But we love you guys. We will be back March 1st, tentatively. Stick around. We will still be sharing things. We're not going away. But we love you guys. And we'll be back. We'll always be back. Toodles.